Hi guys, welcome to Spurs Vision TV. Just enjoy this for a while. That's how my yeah, you saw your face there, right? Yeah, that's what
I honestly never thought that clip would ever see the light of day.
yeah.
Almost, wait, we did that sometime during Christmas, right? Or was it Chinese New Year? It was
I
either,
can't
I
remember.
remember somewhere during the holidays, I believe it could be Chinese New Year when Richarlison was on that goal scoring streak and we did that one and only live watch along physically side by side together for the Everton win. Speaking of wins,
Yeah,
here's Mr. Kashaf himself. Welcome, Mr. Kashaf,
yeah,
Nice.
sir. Welcome. It's been a
yeah.
good long while
Uh,
since we ever did a show together, Mr. Kashaf. So great to see you back.
yeah.
Hi,
Hey
Jan.
guys,
Hi, Jan.
welcome to Spurs Vision TV, wherever you are around the world. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Right, guys. Today we have a good panel here. One is a West Ham fan, the other is Arsenal fan. Today we have a lot of things to talk about. I'm sure we all know the results and all that, but this is the discussions that we're going to go through. Right, guys, how you all doing? All well?
Very well,
Yep.
very well from my side.
All good in my neck.
Yeah. So, okay, let's get down to the first. Okay, we'll do the first game, of course. Since we're a Spurs channel, we'll do the Spurs 3, Brentford 1, right? I'll just go first. I'll just have a bit of my thoughts on this. It was a good win for us. We more or less showed up, right? But as usual, there will be some points to be spoken about, right? In the game, there were a bit of controversy with Vicario handling the ball outside the box, which was so clear, right? Oh my God, I don't even understand why VAR. And the best part is, right, I thought VAR would intervene, but VAR didn't intervene. So I guess, and then a lot of people were saying it's a deserved red card, a deliberate handle of the ball, blah, blah, blah. But we got away with it and we won. I'm happy. But I think based on my analytic of the game is that I think when Brentford went up 1-0 in that 30 seconds or so, right? I think Thomas Frank tried what to do is that he tried to sit back and absorb the pressure. I think that didn't work out for him. So we scored. I mean, we replied right within the 7th minute, 8th minute, like that. So then he went on his plan B or so. I think he didn't need to go plan B. That was his plan A, right? Because Brentford usually comes out and attack, right? And then they did attack, and we still did score our second goal, right? And it was a good goal taken by Brennan Johnson. I won't call him Brenda today, right? He did a bit well, but don't forget he still missed 2 gilt-edged chances, right? But just long we won, I'll take the win, right? And of course, after that, in the second half, I think I was saying, I've been saying this, right? We played Conte ball, right? We sat back, we absorbed the pressure, and we caught them on a counter attack. But guys, I'm happy because number one, we did see Ange adapt, right? This is one of the few games Ange changed his tactics. He adapt. I don't know why. I don't know whether it was deliberately he adapted or whether it was because of the the pressure from Brentford on us. I guess we were able to defend our line, and in the end day we came through because I was doing a WhatsApp watch along with Mr. K, right, on the phone, right, and me and Mr. K, we were still quite jittery, right. We were sitting there saying that we have to get that second goal. If we don't get that second goal, right, squeaky bum time, they're gonna hit us. That's what I saw. So, but I'm happy we won, right? We won 2 games in a row for the moment. But of course, the next game coming up, well, it's the Europa League game. But after that, of course, in the league, we are playing Manchester United away. Chang, you as a Spurs fan, I'll get your thoughts first.
Okay, so I think there's nothing much actually I can add to that Brentford game apart from maybe the opening goal that we conceded inside. Was it 25 seconds, 26 seconds? I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever seen us concede that early straight from kickoff, and it wasn't even it wasn't even a chance that they carved out of their own. It was actually us giving away possession as per Ange ball system. We gave the ball away inside the first 15, 16 seconds. Kulus FC turning over possession. And in like 9, 10 seconds after that, they scored inside the 25th or the 26th second. And the moment that goal went in, I was so relieved. I was relieved as a Spurs fan because I know there's no way in hell Spurs were going to defend a 1-0 deficit inside 30 seconds for the remainder of the game. I know we're going to hit them back. Whether we'll equalize in the first half or the second half is only a matter of time. And I was so glad we equalized within 6 minutes of their opener. And to see Brendan Johnson then notch his second goal in 4 days in all competitions was really sweet after all the abuse he's been getting, to the point that he had to shut down and close his social media accounts. So I think that pretty much shut up the haters. And the third goal I think was just icing on the cake. Winning back possession in our own half. Cristian Romero, one long ball straight down the field to Sonny. Sonny, his second assist of the game, and he's now into the second of all time Premier League assists for Tottenham Hotspur in the modern era. And to see James Maddison, our man of the match, get his much deserved goal after a man of the match performance. What can I say? That was peak cinema for Spurs. But I think I already got over that win on Sunday. All attention now will fall upon us tomorrow when we take on Karabakh in our Europa League opener. And I'm not going to dwell too much on this because I know we are supposed to do a weekend recap show, but I just want to see more of the same from us. I'm so worried about this Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, all of us.
Chang, don't worry, don't worry, Chang. We will do a preview on that Karabakh game afterwards, right? But there's one question I want to ask you, right, Chang?
Okay, go ahead, sure. Fire
handball
away.
No.
Okay, it was a handball. It was clear as day. I mean, I've seen the replays on Match of the Day, on YouTube, on our Stadium Astro YouTube, and all sorts of streams. The ref was staring at it. He couldn't have had a better view, but maybe, just maybe, for his in his defense, the angle wasn't there for him to judge whether was the keeper on the line inside his box or outside the box. And the amount of replays that were shown over and over and over again, you would think that VAR would have at least had a look at it. VAR didn't even step in, which is so strange. And this is where I come down. This is where I really come down hard on the refereeing, the officiating that is not consistent. Sometimes petty handballs that aren't even handballs to begin with, they are overanalyzed. This one that is so clear and obvious and blatant that we have absolutely no defense at it is not even given a look at. I mean, where's the consistency in the officiating? And it's not the first time; it's multiple seasons now.
Yeah, Chang, I already told you, right? PJOML is in the pockets of the Southeast Asian bookies. I've been saying that all the while, right? But big up to Ryan, Huddersfield Town. Hope you're doing well, Ryan. Since Chang has had his say, I'll come to Mani. Mani, did you watch the game, Spurs Brentford? And of course, I want your thoughts on the handball thing, right? Me and Chang are still perplexed as that why VAR didn't intervene, or VAR didn't have the right to intervene. But if you tell me the referee didn't see it, Chang, I tell you, like, come on. Right, again, he must be blind or what? Right, Mani, your thoughts? Hi, Mani. Can you hear me, Mani?
I think he may have some connection problems, but it's fine.
Yeah, but man, okay, I'll come to Keshav then. Keshav, your thoughts on the game? Did you watch it? You're muted, Keshav.
Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear now.
Yeah. I didn't catch up with the game. I just watched the highlights. I'll just give a quick summary. From what I saw, I think what's interesting. I think what's interesting from Spurs this season is that I'm noticing. Recently in the games is that Kulusevski is playing in the midfield. I have not
Yes.
seen him actually
Yes.
play in the midfield. Last season he was playing from the right wing, but this season it's quite interesting to see him playing from the position. It's not bad. He's playing quite well in that area. And I can see the likes of um, Solanke doing well,
Mm,
and he's
mm.
actually a good striker you bought. And I'm quite surprised that Spurs are able to purchase him for 65 million. And I don't think Levy has done that. I think that kind of transfer. I don't know if I'm right, but I don't think he's done that amount of. I mean, he's bought that type of player or bought that amount of money for that transfer fee. But I think Spurs have done quite good business. I think they've bought players which have, I think, proven in the Premier League, and they've also bought young players from foreign leagues. I think that what's the guy's name? Bugvali. I think I'm not mistaken. The midfielder, that Swedish midfielder you bought,
Yeah, Lucas
and
Bergvall.
Lucas Berval. Yeah, and so I watched. I caught up with the highlight for the Brentford game. I don't know. He seemed to be conceding in the first minute always. I think Brentford scored first minute in the against City, and then also this game he conceded. I don't know. I think Brentford have a knack of scoring first minute, but anyways, you came back very well. I think this time I can see. I watched. I mean, I watched the highlights. You seem to be more attacking, more forward thinking, and the progressive passes are there. Solanke's been getting into the boxes. I can see through that assist from Madison, and you have all those creativity from those players to be able to supply him that. I mean, the goal threat. And but the one thing I can say, I've been what I watched. I'm not coming to this game. I think that's my summary. I got no comments because I'm not seeing Spurs a lot. But I watched the highlights from the cup game against I don't know who you played. Was it
Coventry
Preston?
City.
Sorry,
Coventry
Coventry.
City.
I watched that full. I think Carabao, was it Carabao Cup or yeah, Carabao
Yes, it
Cup.
was the League Cup.
My goodness, the way you Coventry played was bad. I have to say I have to give them credit. Very good. They actually played to. I mean, considering their side and how they actually showed up in well, and I noticed that I don't know why Ange is not taking it seriously. I think it's coming from a
Yeah,
France point of view that
yeah.
he's not taking a set piece
Hmm.
important, which I don't understand. Yes, I know he's a more progressive coach and he wants to implement attacking philosophy. But if you look at the sides this season, they're all using set pieces and they have either a set piece coach or a specialist to be able to help. But from his thinking, he's not seen to be able to look at that and say, these teams are hitting the ball well. They are looking at they are being able to use they're having good ball playing defenders or heading basically heading well, but he's not
Mm,
utilizing that, and people are seeing Spurs as being able to counter that. So whenever Spurs
mm,
have a corner, teams are able to identify that as a threat they can pose, and Spurs I've been seeing them; they're not being able to defend that well. So when I'm hearing his press conferences, I think don't think he's handling that part well. And
mm.
when I've been watching his press conferences, I don't like the way. Okay, I don't know from a fan's point of view, but the way he comes out also is a bit.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Yes, I can
Arrogant.
understand he's a
He's
bit
very naive.
arrogant. Okay, yes, I know you can. He needs to. I feel he needs to be a bit humble in that sense. Yes, we are. You can say like you can say, for example, like, okay, we want to, yes, we are trying to improve in this area. Yes, I think he wants to try and defend from his point of view by saying he wants to defend his style of play. But you have to be honest that Spurs are not, I mean, they're struggling in the heading aspect. So that also has to be addressed. So I'm just saying that, I've been noticing that aspect. But I think overall you're doing well this season. You started well. And you're starting the Europa League, so I'll just say good
Yeah,
luck. But let's
yeah.
hope Spurs. Spurs
Keshav, you are deflecting everything, right? Our summer transfer window wasn't good, right? The only player that we brought in was the first team player was actually Solanke, right?
Mm,
Number one.
Mm.
Number two is that we re-signed Timo Werner in the beginning of the summer transfer
Yes, that I
window,
know. Yes.
right?
Mm.
That was painful for the Spurs fans. And of course, we got
Mm.
in Bergwall, but Bergwall was not a summer signing. Bergwall was a January signing. He was brought back
Mm.
into the team, right? And then, of course, we spent
Okay.
30 million pounds on
Mm.
Odegaard, and Odegaard is
Ah,
injured,
yes,
right?
same, yeah.
So, yeah,
Mm.
but don't go there. We'll come to you very soon, right? With your manager and
Yes,
your
yes,
stuff.
I know, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
we'll come in for that too. But let me get Mani's thoughts, right? Mani, can you hear me now?
First of all, can you all hear me?
Loud
yes,
and clear,
yes.
Mr. Money.
Yeah, loud and clear now.
Yes,
right?
Mani.
Perfect. So,
Yeah. And of course, wait, I still need to get one more thing from Kesha. Handball or no handball? Did you
I
see
think it
that
was
part? Did they show that in the highlights?
I need to watch. I don't know what I saw. I think I must have forgotten which part. I need to watch it again. So I didn't think I saw.
Vicario came out for a ball, right? And then when he touched it, the ball
Okay.
went across the penalty box. And then he touched it. The first 2 times he touched it was inside the box. The third time when he touched it, it was outside
Oh,
the
I need
box.
to watch it. Okay,
Yeah,
maybe I
to
didn't
watch
see
that
that.
part. You better go watch that one. So yeah, okay. I'll let you go back and watch that. Maybe I'll ask you next week, right? Mani, your thoughts on the Spurs game? You watched it, Mani?
didn't get to watch it actually, Eugene, because I think it was on a Saturday. I might have been at the gym, and I was actually to come back and watch the Crystal Palace Manchester United game. But I did see the highlights. Obviously, what happens is that the Premier League channel hosts the Matchday Live Extra, which gives us some highlights of every single game gone by. And first of all, that handball from Vicario was a blatant handball. And what angers me is how people have chosen to add another sort of mitigating fact to it, saying maybe if it wasn't preventing a goal scoring opportunity, then you could let that fly. No. There's a reason why the goalkeepers are told you can only handle the ball inside the penalty area. You're outside the penalty area and you touches your hand. Off you go, son. Have an early shower and go home. And the fact that it didn't happen, Brentford have every reason to feel hard done by, especially since, Vicario did pull off a pretty good save, which I think would have made it 2-2, maybe.
Yeah.
So those are the moments that would have, those are the moments on which games kind of hinge in a way. But speaking to our friend Steve Jenkins, better known as Mr. B, and hopefully he will join in the chat, and I think he will still be fuming about the Vicario hand. But he will also be magnanimous enough to say that at the end of the day, Brentford just couldn't really offer enough, and Spurs were the more deserving winners. But at least I'm glad that both you and Chang are magnanimous enough to admit that that was a handball, and you did get lucky. And it is a good sign as well that Ange is starting to change things around. Because I'll tell you what, we always say this, Eugene. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and expecting a better result than last time. And I think Ange has probably learnt the hard way, maybe after the result against Arsenal, that if you play that way all the time, you're not going to get the desired results. And sometimes the way the game is going, the nature of the opposition, everything dictates that you've got to have a bit of a change. And, we have to sort of credit him for that. But I've got an Aussie friend of mine, Steve-O, the Aussie Gooner, who obviously has memories of Postecoglou from coaching the Aussie national team. They did win the Asian Cup under his stewardship and qualify for, I believe it was the 24. It might have been the 2018 World Cup. I don't quite remember. Maybe 2014. Obviously, he coached them in one of them. But he was never a big fan of Ange's tactics. But it just goes to show that, it's always possible for old dogs to learn new tricks, and it's definitely possible for experienced managers to learn it. Although it shouldn't have taken a fan outcry of sorts for him to suddenly turn the corner. And Keshav mentioned that match against Coventry. I think it's fair to say that he was a few minutes away from really facing serious danger to his job. But Jed Spence and Brennan Johnson saved him. And I also want to give him credit for finding a role for Spence in that team. Obviously, Antonio Conte, if you remember, Eugene, and you, Chang, you will both remember that Conte did not want Spence to come in from Nottingham Forest. They probably wouldn't have minded Brennan Johnson again, I suppose. But, Spence somehow seems to have found a little bit of a niche, and he does have a bit of a role to play. Maybe if he's used more effectively, he could prove to be a reasonably important player, at least off the bench. I think he might end up being a replacement left back for Udogie if whenever Udogie comes off, or if Udogie is injured and can't play, then Spence can come into the team. And there are a few things from where you can
it's better
take.
than Ben Davis. It's better than Ben Davis, to tell the truth, on the left side.
Sir Davies is old news. I think he's gone now, hasn't he?
But he
Or
played in the
still there?
Coventry game. He played in the Coventry game.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. He played in the Coventry game with with Dragusin, right?
Dragushin, Radu Dragushin.
Yeah, Dragusin was the right centre back, and he was the left centre back in that game, right? But before I continue, big up to Daniel Coyce. Yeah, we know. I don't go there today because I did a whole show on it yesterday with Estelle and the rest of the gang on it, right? We know what our owners is like, and I'll brief Keshaf and Mani on our fan forum and the little snippets that came out from there. And to tell the truth, I watched that whole fan forum thing yesterday. Yeah, I won't go into it too in depth into that. But sorry, Mani. Continue on your thoughts on the Spurs Brentford game.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much said what I wanted to say, and it will be interesting to see if Ange is now willing to realize the benefits of being able to change tack and do things differently, because that's called game management. And any manager can set a team up intellectually before a game and do his homework before a game. That's easy. That's the bare minimum. But when things take a bit of a turn for the worse, how do you manage things? Are you smart enough to be able to get the result you really, really want? Are you imaginative enough or proactive enough to be willing to try something different? And we're obviously going to talk about who I'm getting at later on, obviously. But, this could very well be the making of the I'd like to think. And it's now up to him to decide how he goes about things now. But Spurs now need the points. They need to start climbing up the table.
And we're still 10th, right? So, but Mani, that's why I was saying, right, during when I said my thoughts on this game is that I did see Ange adapt, right? But like I was saying, was it a deliberate adaptation, or was it he was actually pushed into it, right? But at this moment in time, at least how we see it, it is what it is, right? Yes, Ricky Osvaldo, big up, thanks for being a subscriber, right? Happy clappers. Yeah, I'm not a happy clapper. You should know that, right? Right. But what I've seen is, like we said, right? Ange has to adapt, right? But let's see. And the thing is that we played Brentford, guys. Let's see when we get strong opposition like Manchester United coming up and Brighton coming up, right? And let's see whether the plans, like Mr. A. What Mr. T, not Mr. A. Mr. T from the A team says, right? I love it when a plan comes together, right? Or was it Hannibal that said that? I can't remember. But guys, all right, let's move away from the Spurs game. Yep, said enough of that. Let's come up to the next game. I'll do the we'll do the West Ham Chelsea first, right? West Ham Chelsea. West Ham 0, Chelsea 3. I'll be honest with you, I was watching that game for a while, but once Chelsea was in a dominant force, right, and they scored that early 2-3 goals, the two goals early, I just didn't have much interest in the game anymore. Right, Chang, your thoughts?
Okay, all right. So, West Ham 0, Chelsea 3. I did see the highlights of the game, and I mean, for West Ham I wouldn't say that they capitulated. Neither will I say that they threw the game. It was still a very evenly fought match until the Chelsea goals, and I think for West Ham now, they need to get this loss at home out of the system as soon as possible, because I think Keshaf, you can correct me here if I'm wrong. I believe you have an away game at Liverpool later today in the Carabao Cup. Am I right?
We'll go into that later.
You also have another upcoming away game against the very same opposition that we beat on Sunday, on Saturday, which was Brentford. You have a Brentford game. So for me, Keshav, I just want to hear your thoughts on this West Ham nil Chelsea 3. For me, I think they need to get some form of consistency right now. Not so much in terms of their performance, just to have some sort of semblance of a team. From the highlights that I watched on Match of the Day, it felt to me like the West Ham players were pretty much like playing with each other for the very first time on that pitch when they took to the pitch against Chelsea. And I just like to hear from you, is there anything that was done differently, whether it's in the way they were deployed, their strategy, their formation, even the philosophy, which made them so disjointed on the day in that London derby?
Yeah, but we'll get to that from Keshav, right? Because big up to Eva, man, all the way from Hong Kong. Thanks for your support, right? I hope to catch up with you soon, right? We'll come to Keshav as the last person to speak because that's his team, right? Because then before that, we'll come to Mani first. Mani, your thoughts on this game? Any? Did you watch it, or you just didn't more or less look at it?
Well, I actually did see the first 2 goals, and Chang was sort of touching on it. Really, West Ham were looking disjointed. I would even go so far directly to say that when it came to the defending, they were just, they weren't at the races. They were asleep, literally. And it's as if they just didn't seem to have the proactivity to want to take the game by the scruff of the neck until they went 2-0 down. I do believe there was a pretty good chance that I think Kudus had the ball in the net, but it was ruled out for offside. And Keshav, you can nod if I'm correct. And so, but then we never really saw West Ham really determined to do much more, and it was almost expected really that West Ham were going to lose that game. And Palmer's third goal, even though it came very early into the second half, I think that was pretty much the final nail in the coffin. I just don't even West Ham, really bothered too much anymore. And Chelsea obviously are starting to look really, really good right now under Maresca, but there is still a great deal of work that they will need to do, and they haven't even played the likes of Liverpool yet. They haven't played us yet, and it will be very interesting to see how they do against Unai Emery's Aston Villa, who also will have, ambitions of things, having qualified for the Champions League last season, of course. But as far as West Ham are concerned, the disappointing thing is that after all of the optimism, especially from Keshav's side, regarding David Moyes' departure and the incoming, the arrival of a new manager, I think we're starting to see deja vu all over again. And Keshav is welcome to disagree with me on this, but I was never a big fan of Julian Lopetegui being the manager. One look at his CV will tell you that he failed with the Spanish national team. He failed with Real Madrid. And even when he came to Wolves and, did something of a decent job or decent-ish, the fact that he was willing to just walk away when things weren't going to be how he wanted, I suppose one could take a look at that and say, you know what, we have to credit him for that because he's sticking to his principles. But the way it happened, it just sort of, left them in the lurch. And I didn't really believe that Lopetegui's style of football would suit a club like West Ham. And Kesha will tell you that over the years, West Ham has had a tradition of playing some very attractive, stylish sort of football, and the fans definitely expect a great deal more. And sadly, I know it's very early in the season, and Lopetegui should be given a bit more time, but we're just seeing, a similar style, a style of football which isn't, in theory, too different to that of David Moyes in a way. And Moyes at least was able to bring some success to the club. And I would like to see Lopetegui given a little bit more time, of course, because it is still very early days and he still has quite a bit to prove. But I also wonder if some players being let go was really the best thing that the club could have done. Someone like a James Ward-Prowse. I know Kesha will say that it had to happen because Ward-Prowse was never really going to get into the team, but maybe he could have made something of a difference. Have the new signings like Kilman and Fulkrug and company really, really gelled. And for those players coming in, the impact that they should have had, it's saddening to see performances like this from the Hammers. And I suppose my question is, where can they possibly go from here?
Yeah. And to tell the truth, right, Kesha, the whole of last season, right, you were shouting Moyes out, right? And of course, when Lopetegui first came in, right, I think he did quite a decent job, right? He showed you guys to play a totally different way of football. But I think because of this summer transfer window, bringing in so many new players in, one, and then of course letting go of a lot of players, right? And I think now, I think Lopetegui is actually feeling the loss of Declan Rice. You know what I'm saying? Before that, it wasn't much felt, right? Because it was too early. And like what Mani is saying is that with this, a lot of fans around, I mean, not Spurs fans, even Arsenal fans, I think the fans around the whole the Premier League were saying, right, West Ham has had the best transfer window. You know, saying, you're the best business, But the problem now is that what Mani is saying is very true. Maybe Lopetegui hasn't been able to gel that team together yet. And to honestly tell the truth, like managers do need time. Like we've been through so many managers in the past 5 years, 4 years, right? And that's why we are having PTSD with Ange at the moment. So it is what it is. And you must at least was Lopetegui, would he come in last January or was he a bit later or even a bit earlier? Okay. Keshav being a West Ham fan, 3-0 to Chelsea. I'm sure you watched the game, right? And I'm sure that if Chelsea could beat you 3-0, it was a deserving defeat, right? So that means the faults are with your manager, or is it with the squad, or you still feel that you're going to give him time to gel the team up?
Thank you for all the opinions. I think all very good. I think all very insightful opinions. I think all of them are definitely intriguing questions because I think all of them are correct in some way. But what I would say is that I did watch the game. I was quite optimistic because I thought, and to be honest, after I keep saying this, but after Moyes left, I think the fans wanted a clean slate, and I can completely understand because after Moyes, not to say what Moyes delivered, I always keep saying I'm very respectful because of what he's done. No, not many managers do what he does, and I know the style of play will not be what is not my cup of tea, but he's delivered the best finishes in that 3 years, 7th, 6th, and 7th finishes, and also 9th, and also he delivered us a Conference League trophy. That was also another great thing. But also in that last season, he didn't. The reason why he got sacked was, or the reason why he left was, because we suffered many defeats. We suffered, I mean, humbling defeats to Liverpool. We suffered the 5-1 in the Carabao Cup. We suffered in the 5-1 to Fulham. No, 5-0 to Fulham. We suffered the 6-0 to Arsenal. So there was a lot of things in that last season that didn't fit right, and also the way he came out at press conferences didn't also. He was quite insulting in that way, which I didn't like from Moyes, and that's why a lot of circumstances had to happen for him to go. And I can understand the fans' point of view, which he said, enough. I think it's time for him to go. We need a clean slate, a fresh manager to come in that can help. So I thought, we were linked with Amorim in the first time. I thought, Fabrizio reported it, and I was quite excited. But to be honest, in the back of my mind, I said, "There's no way we're going to get him." I already said, "There's no way this type of manager want to come to us." Even though and of course we're an attractive club in London, but there's no way he would come because we have to pay compensation, and I know our board is not going to pay that type. So then our next option was Fonseca, which we didn't get. So he went to Milan, and actually Lopetegui is supposed to go to Milan, but and I think after complications he didn't go, and then he came to us. So um, at first I was a bit perplexed with his appointment because after, of course, it is with the Wolves appointment and how he managed that. But then I thought, you know what, let's back. I just decided to back him. Not just that, I can understand Real Madrid he didn't do well. I can understand in the Spain national team he didn't do well. But let's not forget what he did at Sevilla. I think many people didn't forget what he did at Sevilla. He was there for, I think, 2 years, 2.5 years. He delivered them a Europa League trophy. He made them a quite a competitive team. He made them a team that played quite we played them. I remember we played them that season in Europa League. They were very good, and they played almost similar to what Moyes played, but a bit more expensive. They had Acuna and all those players, which actually they played very well. So, to be honest, I gave him my backing, and to be honest, I was very happy with the signings we bought. There's no complaints. I think the decisions was made by Tim Steidin. All of that was good. I was happy. So there was nothing. I got no complaints from that side. But I think the moment when the game started, I could already see issues already happening because the way we started to play was like what I've noticed these past few games is that I'm not seeing Kudus or Bowen express themselves. It's very much like we are playing. Quillman is playing the long balls to Kudus, and it's like a repetitive thing I'm seeing these past few games. Or it's like a 1-on-2 with Emerson and Pakita, or it's Bisaka going overlapping with Kudus, and it's Kudus is trying to go through the middle, but we are not seeing any avenue. So I'm still very perplexed by what he's trying to do because it's a bit confusing in this first 4 games. I'm trying to think, what is he trying to do? But the 3-0 loss, I was watching the game, and the moment Jackson scored, I was like, okay, I think not good. I already said not good.
I watched that goal, right, and it was so simple. Jackson just ran down the side, right, and cut back into the penalty box, and he just slotted past the goalkeeper. And that was not that long, and he had so many chances doing that,
Yes, and that was the problem. And what I noticed was that game. I was thinking to myself, I was watching the beginning. I said, why is Alvarez playing as a three? Alvarez dropped as a part of a back three, and then I thought, why are we playing a back three? Okay, I'm thinking then, when we are playing against a Chelsea side who have the quickest wingers you can think of, like Neto and Jackson and all, when you know you're going to get punished, why are you playing the back three when our back three is very slow? Kilman, yeah, I know he can maraud forward, but he's quite slow, and you can't mother upon us. Which I'm being serious here. He's not a great. He's been okay so far, but I already know every game he'll make a mistake. And we've got Todibo on the bench who's not started. We beat the likes of Juventus for him, and we haven't started him. I've been waiting to see him come on, but he hasn't come on. So then I was thinking, why is he dropped Alvarez there? And every time Chelsea were carving us apart through the middle, and I don't know, I saw this on Twitter, and they said that we left a gap open in the middle where Chelsea were just kept on passing through the middle. We didn't know how to break through them. And that game, I was very pissed off. I watched the game and I was like, I know as much I can see Lopetegui in the sidelines doing all his antics, and getting angry but still, this is not. It's like I was watching like Moyes, the same thing, same repetitive thing last season. Defensively not good, and it's like the players didn't know what to do. Bowen didn't show up. The only player that I thought was good against Chelsea was Somerville. He actually tried. He actually gave a good goal.
Yeah.
And I don't know why this. And I want to mention this, but I don't know why. What's this? VAR didn't give the Somerville. When Somerville fell down, it's supposed to be a penalty. I don't know why there wasn't a penalty. And this is the problem with VAR. And I think now they said that the referee gets to decide that it's whether it's a penalty or not. They don't have to, intervene with VAR, if I'm not mistaken. That is not right.
The intervention comes unless it's a very clear and obvious area. But like for the Spurs game, right?
Mm,
Cario was a very clear and obvious error, but there was no
mm,
intervention. So this season VAR has got a bit weird for me, right? But Keshav, honestly, right, at this moment in junction in time, I know it's just after 5 games, right? Do you see
mm.
any hope in Lopetegui and the squad of players that he has?
Look, these past 5 games, it's been very. I don't know. I don't like to use the word depressing, but it's not been nice to watch. Every time I'm looking forward to watching, but there's nothing to look forward to. But what I would say is, I just want. Yes, I know it's a lot of integration of players, but let's be honest here. Maraska's come in this season. Look what he's done. No, I'm being honest here. You have this. He has brought in how many players, and he's being able to integrate. So I can't. If he can do it, why can't Lopetegui do it? I'm looking at it from that
But,
point of view
but
because it's
if you
true.
look at that point of view, right, the job was already half done by Poch before Maresca stepped in. Poch already has got that more or less that core of players that they were already into a certain kind of rhythm before. I
Okay,
mean,
I
in the
can
end of the
understand.
season, and I think
Mm,
Maresca is just carrying on with it. You get what I'm saying? But I
mm,
understand your thing, the feelings, right? But at this moment in time, like I'm saying, is your board, your owners
mm,
going to give Lopetegui time? Number one. Number two, are the fans soon? Okay, let's say if this continues down into 10 games, right? We all know that the fans will go
mm,
crazy. It'll be
mm,
Lopetegui out. It's the same thing for
early
the Spurs
morning.
fans, right? If Ange, to tell the truth, right? If Ange, right, screws up in the next 2 games against Manchester United and Brighton, right, that part of the fan base is going to be noisy again. The Ange out
Mm,
is going to be
mm,
noisy again. It's the same thing for you guys now because the last when you had Moyes, right, to
mm,
tell the
mm.
truth, right, when we were doing shows last year, right, when we won the Conference League, right, all of the
Yeah.
panel, right, none of us have won anything apart from you.
Mm.
Yes, yes, sir. But somehow or another, of course, maybe Moyes has overstayed his welcome and you all needed a clean slate. And maybe this is what you have to pay for actually getting that clean slate, right? That's all I said. Will your fan base be patient? Will your board be patient?
Okay, look, I've been all looking at Twitter and I've been looking at the Western platforms and all, but I've been being, I just want to, I've been analyzing, like, okay, but what I've thought about is that they've all talked about this, Lopetegui is not been good, and, they're saying that it's all this talk about how much time you're going to give him, like they said 3 games and all. Look, to be honest, it's the same thing that I already said. I'm not going to listen to all these reports coming out. It's like every time I watch them lose, right, there'll be a newspaper headline coming out, Daily Mail, or something that will say West Ham, Lopetegui is going to get 3 games. There'll definitely be something like that. So look, I know our fans are impatient sometimes. I can understand, but I don't want to be a fan that I don't want to be a fan that's impatient right now. I think I know it's a little bit difficult to be optimistic, but I want to see a balanced team at the moment. Yes, it's difficult to integrate the players we have, but I want to see a more defensive performance. Yes, we are playing Liverpool tomorrow, and it's going to be tough. Okay, but I think I want to see a reaction, a very important reaction. It's not nice to lose 3-0 against Chelsea, and Lopetegui needs to respond. If he doesn't respond tomorrow, then the fans are going to get even more upset, because I've been watching all the videos of all the, and especially Talksport. I don't go into Talksport. They talk a lot about
Okay.
West Ham. They love the banter and all. I
No,
would
no,
say
no. No, they love Spurs more. No, no,
it's first, yeah.
yeah, they love
But
Spurs.
um, but I want to see a reaction tomorrow. I think I heard Liverpool are going to field their second team. So, but even if it's their second team, I want to see at least something different. Because you see, if you see our upcoming games, we've got Liverpool away tomorrow. We've got Brentford away, Ipswich at home next week. Then we've got international break. Then we're playing I think away. I think, no, yeah, away, and then United at home. It's this whole like 10 games for us has been very tough. I don't know. People have not realized that. Yes, I know we have now got 4 points of 15, but if you look at that first 5 games we've had, we played Aston Villa, who are currently top contenders. Let's be honest here. Then we have played Man City, which are also top contenders. We have played Chelsea, who are one of the biggest spenders. The Fulham game we should have. I'm being honest here. The Fulham game we should have lost, considering Fulham's chances and all. We are lucky to have actually won the game. But I'm gonna say it, but there's no excuses for Lopetegui now not to start winning games. He needs to start winning. I'm not gonna give him the same thing. He needs 10 games. No, every manager that comes in this club needs to has the uh, mindset that says, because West Ham is a big club, there's expectations now to build on what Moyes has done. Very important. If you don't deliver, because our aim this season is to top 7, top 8. If he finishes barely at least top 8 or 9, because he's on a 2-year contract, and I think if I'm not mistaken, the second year, if he gets to Europa League, his contract is extended, I think, for another year. But still, if he doesn't deliver a top 10 finish, then I think we should let him go. Top 10 is a bare minimum for West Ham. If we drop there, it's not good. We need to start picking up points. I want to see a proper performance by at least hopefully tomorrow, because the Chelsea game was not good at all. It was absolutely not good. I didn't like any bit. And what I noticed is Kudus has not been performing as what I thought. He's not at all. Last season, yeah, he's been showing it, but this season not at all showing it. Bowen has not been up. I mean, he's not been initiating. He's not been proactive in taking on players. And then you see, the problem is that I feel our midfield is very slow at the moment. Yes, you have Alvarez there, he's a great tackler, but we brought in that guy Rodriguez from Real Betis. He's also slow, because I don't know. I noticed Aston Villa side, Chelsea now, they all got very quick midfielders. If you look at our players, midfielders, we have Suchek who's slow. Not to be rude to all these players, but we have a very slow midfield. The only the proper midfield we have is Paqueta, and Paqueta's also not playing well at the moment. So Paqueta's not even. I mean, I know he should be. There should be something happening with his he should be showing something, but he's not showing anything at the moment. But I want to see a reaction tomorrow. I hope. I'm being praying optimistic, but I'm having I'm having low expectations tomorrow, because my brother's optimistic, but uh, delusional optimism, as you say.
Yeah.
So
I understand. We'll go into the next game. I mean, the upcoming games later, right?
Yeah.
And of course, the next game we're going to go into, of course, is more or less it's branded the game of the week, right? And of course, we will have to talk about this game, right?
Yeah.
22, Arsenal 2, right? I'll go first. I was saying already during the North London derby, right? Arteta is turning into Jose Mourinho or Conte, right? He just sits back, absorbs the pressure, and goes on a counter, right? And then, of course, when I'll give credit to Arteta, they went down early to a Haaland goal, right? And they did fight back, and they were up 2-1, right? And of course, that later I'll ask Mani this. I'll go to Mani last on this, because he's the Arsenal fan, right? Why are Arsenal players doing the stupid things again? They know very clearly, right, that if a foul or a free kick happens, right, don't touch the ball if it's not for you, right? And if you touch the ball, it gives the referee an excuse to give you a yellow card. And nowadays they don't mind giving you 2 yellow cards for the same things, that's the same we call breach that you've done, right? So that's what happened to Trossard, right? The yellow card was deserved because based on the law, right? Because if this was last season, it would not even happen. But and when the second half came around, Arteta took off Saka. I was going, what? Right? Are you going to sit back for the next 45 minutes against a Man City side that's going to pump you, right, to the max? And somehow or another, he rode his luck until the 96th minute of the game or something like that, before John Stone equalized, right? I mean, of course, maybe if he thought that if he plays a more expensive, like what Ange does, even if you're down 10 men, we'll still play the high line, we'll still attack you. Most probably he will get pumped, 2 or 3 more goals extra. But that didn't happen. He hung on for the draw. I think in his mind I think he's already visualized that he didn't want to lose, and he just wanted to go back with the point, right? I'll come to Chang first. Chang, your thoughts on that game? I'm sure you watched it, right? All of us watched it.
I managed to catch the first half. Unfortunately, I didn't get the second half, but from what I saw in that first half, when I think everything that needed to happen in the game happened in that first half. From the Erling Haaland opener, and even before the Ireland opener, there were other chances for City to take the lead very early on. And I thought they were good for a 2-0 lead when I think it was a Gundogan. Gundogan had a free kick that hit the upright. And I thought that, oh no, this is going to be a long, long, long game for Arsenal. But I mean, credit where credit is due. That Califiori screamer, which I think is the pick of the bunch. Califiori screamer from range. Wow. I mean, when I heard that Arsenal were in for Califiori, I was thinking, why aren't we going for players like this? Why didn't we try and snatch Califiori under their noses and give him competition, give Udogi competition with signing Califiori, and I think we saw right there his qualities, Califiori. And the next one that I need to talk about is Gabriel. I mean, Mr. Mani himself would know this very well. Gabriel, what a player. 2 games, 2 big games, 2 massive games in the North London derby and away at City at the Etihad, and 2 corners and 2 goals from headers by Gabriel. That is spectacular from him. So, I mean, credit where credit is due. Great work by Gabriel. But then again, I think the biggest talking point would be that successive yellow cards by Leandro Trossard. The first one was just petulant, and the follow-up then I think was completely unnecessary. And yes, it could be deemed to be soft, but if Michael Oliver thinks that it is sufficient to warrant 2 successive yellow cards and give him his marching orders before the halftime, I mean, he only has himself to blame. It happened to Declan Rice, and now it's happened to Leandro Trossard. And then the second half, Arsenal parked the bus, and for a long period of time, I thought it was going to end up a draw when I watched the highlights. But I mean, Man City, they made their own luck, and that's a very late equalizer by John Stones. That was them carving their own luck. And I would still say, for Arsenal's point of view, for them, I think it's still 1 point gain and not 2 points drop. I mean, I could be looking at this differently. I'm sure Mr. Mani might have something to say about this, but for me, and in that massive game on Sunday, for Arsenal, it was 1 point gain and not 2 points drop. For City, though, I think it was 2 points drop and not 1 point gain, because against 10 men at home, you should be taking advantage of that and trying your best to get a win against your closest title contenders. Because of that, Liverpool now have caught up, and Liverpool are now in second, just behind City. So, I mean, that's all I have to say on that match. And maybe either Mani or Mr. Keshav might have something to weigh in on that game now.
Yeah. Keshav, before I go to Mani, right, you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Your thoughts on the NCT game?
Very good game. I thought they played. I think Arsenal played very well. I think it was a very entertaining game. I thought both sides played well, and
Yep, Mr. Keshav, you there?
I think he may have some connectivity problems. I mean, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, welcome to Malaysia.
can you hear me? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
So as I was saying, very entertaining game. I thought Arsenal had a very good. I have to say, I'm very impressed with Arsenal. That game showed a lot. I mean, the true character of Arsenal really. It was like a lot of dramatic moments in that game, especially the last. I'll come to the last goal from Stones, but Arsenal, once that 9 men came, right, for us, 10 men, right? Is it 10 men? Yeah.
Yeah.
Arsenal defended fantastic, I have to say, because I have to say, because the way I saw there's analysis saying that um, when Man City had the ball, Arsenal pressed together, and then when Man City recovered the ball back, they all came back together. It's very good what they did. But it's a shame that they conceded the last minute because Man City have that kind of luck they always do lah. To somehow they always find a way to score the goal, and unfortunately Stones didn't. But like I said, I'm very impressed with Arsenal's corners. I think they delivered it very well with Gabriel, excellent, and Caliafori's strike. I mean, that was fantastic from him, excellent. Um, I the second half Arsenal didn't. I think Arsenal didn't have much of the ball. I think they rarely had the ball. I think Man City dominated. I can. It's I don't know why the fans have this problem that even if Arsenal didn't have the ball in the second half, let's say they didn't have zero of the ball, and Man City had all of it. So what? That doesn't matter. Even if you have to defend for those 45 minutes and get the win, I'll happily do that. Yes, they're a bit unlucky at the last minute. I completely understand, but they had a go, and I feel very bad for them in that sense. They conceded. But I have to say, there's a lot of positives you can take. But I hope when Man City come back to the Emirates, Arsenal can have a good goal, and that's important. Proper goal, and you give it all because I think Arsenal have leveled up against City in a lot of ways. They've actually proved to City that they've competed, and in that sense, I think what I liked what I liked was the last minute Haaland going to Arteta saying, "Stay humble." The last minute he went to
Yeah,
say
yeah,
to Arteta, "Stay humble."
yeah, all of the shithousery in the end of the game, right? But before I come to Mane, right, I'm going to say this, right? There are a lot of people saying out there, right, in that game, right, it shows that now Arsenal is actually a contender for, against City now, right? They showed the grit and they showed the tenacity to actually try to do something, right? And of course, big up to Chris Agama, big up to you. Hope you're doing well, right? Right. So at this moment in time, right, Mani, you being an Arsenal fan, right? What are your thoughts, right? Do you really see yourself as being a contender? And to tell the truth, right, I think what Arteta has done, right, Arteta has actually he's found a formula of actually taking the corners and turning them into goals. Every time I see an Arsenal corner, right, and when when Saka delivers that ball right into that area where, just in the 6-yard box area, and that's where you all perform the best. And you have got a certain tactic where your players know how to crowd out the defense, right? And somehow create space for Gabriel to come in to hit the ball. And this is not the first time, I've seen it so many times. And I think that is one thing that the Premier League managers, and all the set piece coaches, right, who defend corners against Arsenal, have to find a way, right, to actually prevent that from happening. Because if you guys continue doing that, I think, the corners coming for you, right, it's like a 50% sure goal coming in. It might not be Gabriel this time, it could be Saliba the next time, or whoever's coming in. So I guess Arteta has come up with a master stroke in the that part of it. But of course, I know Mani's going to be very upset when they park the bus, right, and not actually give them a chance of actually trying to do something. But Mani, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, well, first of all, I do.
Oh dear, I think it's ran out of battery or something. Oh, I think Arteta has pulled Mani's plug. So let's see whether Mani will come back in, right? Or maybe his phone is run out of battery or something. But hopefully he'll be back soon, right? But of course, we will still go on. The show has to go on, right? When Mani comes back, we'll get his thoughts on the game. But at the moment now, let me go to the next game in hand. We'll be talking about the games coming up, right? Of course, the first one, right, is Tottenham versus Karabakh. That is the Europa League, right? And most probably this will be between Chang and I, right? Chang, do you think this is a home game, right, in the Europa League? And
yes, it is.
how many changes do you think is going to be there? Because we know there'll be changes, right? He will he play his best 11,
I doubt it because
or will
honestly,
he
I mean, hmm,
go and mess it up?
honestly, if I were a level-headed manager, which I think I would like to think Big Ange is a very, even keel and very, sensible manager. He would prioritize the league proper, the English Premier League over European football, because honestly, we cannot afford to put all our eggs in this Europa League and forsake our league form. Because if we look at the league positions, Spurs versus United at the weekend at Old Trafford, it's 10th versus 11, and these two teams are fighting for European qualification this season. Granted, the Europa League could be our passage, much like Keshav and West Ham. We could see this Europa League as a possible trophy opportunity, but given our squad and given how young a lot of the fringe players are, even the bench players, I don't think we actually have the squad depth to go the distance, which is why I would really ring the changes tomorrow against Karabakh. And I would feel something between a mixture
But
of.
Chen,
Mhm.
why can't we play a strong team, right?
Okay.
Get that 2-3 goals in, then only you
Okay.
blood the youngsters,
Okay.
And the
What
thing is
if?
like what we
Okay.
did with the Coventry, right, in the Carabao
Okay.
Cup. We made 9 changes, and then we looked like really, really bad against it. So there is a big, but I do know about the Premier League and all that, but we should take this Europa Champions League, right, seriously, because it's a cup. If we get all the way and actually win it, it's another
Okay.
ticket into the Champions League.
Yes, I
You get
agree.
to the Champions League, right? So, but I understand what you're saying. I do expect changes coming in, number one, right? But how far is he going to go? That's my question. I don't
Okay.
think he'll do 9 wholesale changes against for Karabakh, right?
If
I
he
don't
can
think.
even feel roughly the same team that he utilized last Thursday, I think it was against Coventry City, if he can maybe keep some of the core players, uh, I'm sure Dragushin and Ben Davis is going to get game time again. And I
No,
was
come on.
really impressed by Jet Spence. I was really, really impressed by Jet
I don't
Spence.
mind Jet Spence, yes, but not Ben Davis again, yes,
But
that's
who else do we have? I mean, honestly, Mr. Eugene,
why
apart
don't we
from
why can't we play VDV with Dragazin, right? And put Jet Spence on the left, right? And then put Jet Spence on the right, okay? And then still use Odogi, right? And then maybe in the midfield, you instead of putting Madison and all that, right? You could put with Bergwall, Sa, right? And the thing is that now we've got the weird part is that we've got Archie Gray, who was supposed to be a midfielder, but now he's playing the right back. So you put Jet Spence on the left and put Archie Gray on the right. But I understand this is the thing with Spurs fans at the moment, right? We are so conflicted is that if we don't try to mash it up, right, and give the players playing time, like what Ange says, we have to give the players playing time, blah, 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 right? And then we'll see what happens. But we already saw what happened. We are playing against Coventry and we didn't turn up that well in that game. But now we're at home. And if we don't turn up and put up a strong team at home, right? I can't even imagine what's the repercussions from that, you know.
and this
And
is
then
actually what I'm fearing, Mr. Eugene. Honestly, I mean, sorry to cut you there, but I just need to add
no
very
problem.
quickly when you talk about the repercussions. Can you imagine the kind of uh, slander, the kind of negative feedback the home fans will be giving our second stringers, our youth players, our bench warmers that are part of the rotation for the domestic cup games and also the Europa League. Can you imagine, let's say, if we were to go an hour or so at 0-0 at home, and then suddenly, like typical Spursy, we concede in the 70th or 80th minute, and then the last 10 minutes is just going to be so panic stations. You see last minute wholesale changes. You see players being played out of
But that's
position
nothing.
just to chase the game.
No, yeah, no,
And
I understand, Chang. That's why I'm saying why we should go stronger a bit, right? We should
yes,
not do wholesale
okay,
8-9
we
players again.
we can go strong, but not to the point where if let's say after going strong, but we still can't get a result, at least at the very least a draw. If we can't even muster a draw, then I would say that everything that we did on Brentford has been for naught. It would have been like a complete waste. Like we're not even building on momentum. I would like to build on the momentum that we showed on Saturday against Brentford by then continuing on with our good league form after that Brentford showing, if the lads can even produce half of as good as what they did against Brentford on Saturday, I am actually confident we will get at the very least a draw now at Old Trafford, provided none of the players that are going to play tomorrow pick up any crazy injuries in that
Yeah,
game and
yeah,
that
yeah.
rules them out from Sunday. Not to mention fatigue, not to mention tiredness and fatigue and everything that comes from playing midweek and then having to play again on Sunday at Manchester. That is all I'm worried about.
No,
But
but Chang, that is the
yeah,
part of being a top six club in the Premier League, right? You are in Europe and you have to suck it up and perform, right? But I understand your feelings, Chang. Yeah. The thing is that are you going to make a move now? Since I mean it's a bit late for you.
I might stay on for another minute or so. I just want to reply to Mr. Chris Angoma here. Thank you so much, Mr.
Yeah,
Chris Angoma. You just reminded me that Jet Spence is not part of the
yeah,
Europa League
that's true.
squad,
Yeah, even Jet Spence is not even
and
part of the Europa League
and
squad.
this in itself, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Eugene. If Jet Spence really is so integral, if Jet Spence really has a way back into our squad, if he really is given a second chance by Big Ange to feature for us uh strongly this season, why isn't he
I
registered in the
think
squad?
I think
Why
no, I
is
think
Jet Spence
there
not
was
registered in
there
the
was
squad?
a
It doesn't make any sense.
it was a technical issue that they have, right? And the thing is that if I'm not mistaken, big up Steve, right? Big up to you. Hope you're doing well, Mr. B. Hive, right? If you have time, you can hop on. But I heard that you're on holiday now. Please enjoy your holidays, right? Please enjoy your holidays, right? But what I'm saying is that according to a lot of people, is that because of the quota that we had, right? Jet Spence was either Jet Spence or Forster. Yes, you know, because we had to if we put in Jet Spence, we couldn't bring Forster. So I think Ange didn't trust the two younger goalkeepers in Austin and Whiteman. That's why Jet Spence was left out, right? And we brought in Forster. And we know that we don't even go. To tell the truth, right? If Forster starts in goal that day, right, on tomorrow, right, I'm going to be like, oh shit, right? It's not okay, right? But we've had our talk on the Carabao and Spurs Carabao thing. We need to get Mani's
Yes. Now that it's
on.
back, we really need to.
Yeah, yeah. This one is we have to listen to Mani. Oh, Mani, sorry.
Yeah, let me also briefly say, I might actually catch that Spurs Carabao game tomorrow, and everything that the two of you have said about fielding a mixture of first teamers and maybe some youngsters, I mean that is spot on. That is a game you want to take seriously, and it's not a game that you can afford to mess out with by fielding a very young team. Not even Pep would do that. Pep has made it clear that the for his youngsters and second teamers, and that's not really something worth wasting energy on. But a European tournament is different gravy altogether. That is something you really need to focus on. Full stop. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Now, as for the
your game, yeah. This is gonna be good.
yeah, yeah, but I hope you can appreciate my input, and I will be watching that game with interest. Ange loves European competition. He was, of course, a Champions League regular with Celtic before opting to come down south of the border. So how he attacks this will definitely lend some definition to his stint with you guys. But with this City Arsenal game, I'm afraid I'm going to have to disagree with Chang. It's not 1 point gained; it is 2 points dropped because you do not take the lead, work as hard as you do, and end up defending for your lives, engaging in gamesmanship, tactics, all this, ridiculous craphousery or what have you with that, and end up conceding an equalizer. and saying that there's reason for satisfaction. I did a stream with, and you might know this gentleman, Eugene, Warren from Warren's Team Talk. And we were talking basically about the Manchester City Arsenal game, saying quite simply that, history repeats itself. If you don't learn from your history, you are effectively doomed to repeat it. When we went to the Etihad last season and, took a point from City, we were quite self-satisfied and thought to ourselves, you know what, that's 4 points that we've managed to take off City this season. So, we put ourselves in a great position to make sure that we win the league, and everything's rosy in the garden. As we would say in Tamil, I'm not sure that either you or Chang would understand. There's a phrase called Jolly or Gymkhana. It means sort of a way of saying happy days are here again or something like that. But as it turned out, not too long afterwards, on Easter Sunday, we lost to Unai Emery and his Aston Villa team. Once again, our former manager coming back to do the dirty on us. It's as if, as Christ was resurrected on Easter Sunday, Unai Emery came back from the dead once again and, completely destroyed our dreams. So you think of something like this and you actually take a look at things in a more objective light and say, you know what? If you want to challenge for the title and really lay down a marker as a team to be taken seriously, you have to try to aim for more. You can't simply be can't just look at yourself and say, well, we can definitely be satisfied with the way we've played, because the questions are, having worked so hard to get a 2-1 lead, how could you suddenly lose it and end up being satisfied with that and say that it's a point gained? We were in a position to gain 3 points, and then we ended up having 1. And the answer is pretty much segueing back into your question that you asked earlier, Eugene. The stupidity of Arsenal's players. For Leandro Trossard to do what he did, not even remembering the entire controversy and kerfluffle surrounding Declan Rice against Brighton, I'm sorry, but that was, in many ways a question of, as I would say, mental flatulence, for want of a more genteel term. And Steve in the chat will know exactly what I'm talking about. He knows what it means, and hopefully he won't repeat the meaning here.
Yep. Mani, yep. Lost his audio again. Big up to Mr. K. Hope you're well. Right. Yeah. Mr. K and I were doing the WhatsApp watch along on right. During the Brentford game. Right. So, Mani, you still there? No. I think we've lost audio with Mani.
No. Yeah. I'm back now. I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back. Sometimes connection, plays havoc with me. It causes sorts of problems. I do apologize. But,
no problem.
Like I said, we had our chances to make sure that we could get more out of the game. But for Trossard to do what he did was stupid. And prior to the Calafiori goal, City were dominating us. They unlocked the supposed best defence in the Premiership in Saliba and Gabriel and found a way for Erling Haaland to score goal number 100. And Calafiori, who was selected at left back, was actually being cooked by Fabinho, the City winger. And when they scored that goal, and the way in which it was scored, many of us were taking a look at that and saying, "Oh, here we go again." And we, for all of the claims of how Arteta is tactically smart, his arrogant refusal to play a more traditional left back costs us on many an occasion, and it cost us here. You cannot play a centre back at left back and expect him to be able to hold his own against some very pacey wingers. It doesn't happen with Jurrien Timber, and it didn't happen with Ricardo Calafiori. Now, there were, of course, circumstances surrounding our equaliser. The free kick was taken probably a little bit too quickly. Maybe Walker was blindsided in some respects. He wasn't able to get back in time, and then a sweet left-footed strike there from Calafiori. He sort of redeemed himself really for that, for his part in our goal. And then, from the set piece again, we made Kyle Walker look like a pensioner 2 times over, and it was wonderful. And all we had to do was just keep our cool. But if people are going to talk about the good that we do, we also have to look at things on both sides and say, you know what, we are showing that we do not have the temperament to call ourselves competitors for the title as of yet. Trossard's thing was, bad enough. And he also was stupid enough to take a look at the City fans and put his fingers up saying 2-1, sort of signifying the score, what the score was now. And it did not age very well, obviously. And he made himself look like an absolute buffoon, for want of a nicer word. But in addition, people talk about wanting to try and park the bus and see if you can't hold it out. That segues right back into the game at the Etihad last season, when in hindsight we actually should have taken an opportunity to take the attack to City, because that time their team was exceptionally weakened. But because we didn't think of doing it, because we didn't have the courage to try and go forth, we ended up getting 1 point instead of 3. Now, I'm not saying that we should have abandoned our defense completely. Far from it. We were a man down. But to not even consider the possibility of a counter-attacking opening, to not even consider the idea of bringing on, say, Raheem Sterling, for example, against his old club, to see if his pace couldn't be exploited to try and make a gap in the City defense and see if Edison couldn't be put in trouble. I'm sorry, but again, that has to be looked at as an example of managerial naivety and almost cowardice. And we showed that we don't quite have the defensive, the concentration levels, I must say, to ensure that we could get away with parking the bus and holding on. And then we were indulging in, time wasting and everything. And what's ironic was when we beat Aston Villa at Villa Park a season or 2 seasons ago, I remember now, we were, staring at Villa's attempts to slow the game down. And when Jorginho hit that strike, which hit Emi Martinez on his head and went in, we were celebrating like mad and saying, this is karma for the way you play. Don't try this nonsense against us ever again. But then we see it fit to do it. And now we, all of a sudden, we have the nerve to say, give us our flowers. We are coming for the title and we are going to make sure that we do it. No, I'm sorry. There's no way that I can agree with that. And it's not even to be the case. Yeah?
No, but Mani, when you had 11v11, right, in that first half, right, when you went 1 goal down, you came back to score 2 goals against the City, right? I mean, that could have given you a bit of hope. But of course, being 10 men, right, I understand what Arteta did. He sat back to try to defend it. But of course, right at the end, maybe like what you were saying, the shithousery, the time wasting, right? That's what brought on that 7 minutes of injury time or extra time, right, in the game to actually, cost you guys that 2 points, right? But don't you see there's a bit of a positive there that when it was 11 versus 11 and you were down and then you came back and you actually put the fear into City. I did see the City players, being a bit jittery, right? But of course, we know City is City. If you had 11, that would have turned out to be a wonderful match because we would have seen a very good, back and forth, right? While City is trying to score their equalizer and you guys have 11 guys and you will more or less be going on the counter attack, right? But I understand your feelings, right? And of course, a lot of the fan base, like I was saying, the Arsenal fans says that a lot of Arsenal fans. I'm not saying you, right? But are on that mindset that says that we put up a good show,
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. As I said, as a disclaimer, I'm not saying that Arteta should have gone gung ho. It wasn't the best thing to do. But sometimes, as a manager, you've got to show a little bit of ambition. Now, obviously, the nice thing about watching football in Asia is that in addition to getting coverage of all the best leagues in the world, we also watch the World Cup with great fervor. And one of my favorite games from the 2006 version was the Sweden-Trinidad and Tobago game. Now, obviously, that game was, expected it was effectively expected that Sweden would mash Trinidad and Tobago up into oblivion, even though they had Dwight York playing in the team as no longer a striker but as more of a sweeper sort of defender, defensive midfielder, or what have you. And of course, Trinidad also were handicapped by losing their first choice goalkeeper in the warm up. So they had to call on Shaka Hislop, who many of us will know as a former Premiership goalkeeper for West Ham, Newcastle, and Portsmouth. I think Keshav might have a few, pardon me, memories of him. And also 2006, I'm sorry to have to talk to you about this, Eugene, but obviously you will remember, quite sadly, Lasagna Gate, where you had your chance to beat us to Champions League football and ended up with some of your players having a case of food poisoning. Hislop was the West Ham goalkeeper that day.
Yeah.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago held off the star-studded Sweden attack admirably. It had Arsenal's Freddie Ljungberg. It had Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Henrik Larsson, and company. And key to that was Hislop, who was making some brilliant saves. What happened in the second half was that at the very beginning of the second half, Trinidad and Tobago went down to 10 men with Avery John committing a second bookable offence. It was a fair tackle, but a dangerous tackle, and the referees had been given an edict that, when you make a dangerous lunge for a player, engage in dangerous play, that invariably becomes an immediate bookable offence, and it was a second offence, and the boy had to go. Now, you would have thought that Trinidad would have sat back and defended even more against Ljungberg, Ibrahimovic, and company. But what Beenhakker did almost immediately, that's Leo Beenhakker, the Trinidad and Tobago coach, who's also been around the block in many ways. He actually yanked off one of Trinidad's midfielders and brought on a striker in Cornell Glenn, who went on to play for the LA Galaxy in the MLS. And minutes after coming on, they received a long pass from Hislop, went down the right wing, unleashed a shot, which, hit the frame of the Swedish crossbar, leaving former Arsenal goalkeeper Rami Shabad beaten hook, line, and sinker. And he was the closest to scoring. Of course, after this, normal service was resumed. But that was a reminder that not even going down to 10 men would see Trinidad and Tobago cower under those circumstances. And Beenhakker, pretty much outcoached the Swedes in many ways and made sure they wouldn't, get too much an advantage. And it finished 0-0, which was easily a red-letter day in Trinidad and Tobago's history. So I'm saying that sometimes as a manager, you've got to show a little bit of imagination. You can't just be, rigid and say, well, that's it. Now that we're down to 10 men, they're going to try to attack us. So we're just going to have to park the bus. No, there are always going to be opportunities for a counter. And as it turned out, near the end of the game, City were making some mistakes. There were opportunities to go into the City half. And had there been something like a pacey winger prevalent, you could just imagine that advantage could have been taken, and maybe we would have given ourselves a chance to put Ederson in some sort of trouble. Sadly, it didn't quite materialize. And because we were staking everything on defense, we defended too deep, but we switched off at the most inopportune time. And John Stone scuffed it and ended up going in. So this is what I talk about game management sometimes. You sometimes have to be a little bit brave in some respects. You can be a bit sensible and try a different approach. But because we didn't have the courage and the imagination to try and do something different, we ended up, losing 2 points when we could have had 3. And now we're fourth in the league, 2 points behind City. And for all the talk about how City are supposedly rattled, I'm going to disagree. I think they're now determined more than ever to really push on and forward, especially with Rodri now injured for the rest of the season. They're going to try and find a way to make sure that we win. And when we allow ourselves to get too giddy and think that, we are invincible, some banana skin comes and trips us up and it's back to square one. So, and Mr. K has said it, you sometimes create your own luck. And City, and I'll just be brief because I'll take a call and then I'll let you speak, but City deserve all the credit they can get for, pushing hard at us, knowing that we were never going to offer any threat. And, they deserve all the credit for, persevering. And they weren't celebrating the result. They were celebrating, an equalizer against all circumstances. They lost their midfield talisman because I think our players were given an edict to try to target him and injure him. They put up with a team that was, trying to crap house their way to earning a win.
Yeah, I understand that, Manny. But the thing is that also you can look at the other
And I
side
just
of
did the work. Now, I've got a call to take, but I've said my piece and I'll come back later.
Yeah, okay. But Manny, what I'm going to say is that, right, what Arteta did was Arteta had to hold on to the point, right, and not lose the game, right? Remember when Spurs went down to 9 men and were still playing the high line? do you want to see that kind of football? That would be scary again, right? So there must be a balance to it, right? If you're down to 10 men, right? And I think the game against Brighton, you guys, right, were down to 10 men, and with Declan Rice off and all that, if I'm not mistaken, it was home too, and that ended up 1-1-2, right? But I understand what Manny is saying, but of course, it is what it is, and I gotta say, big up to Jordan. Hope you're well, Jordan, right? And Jordan Chang, he wants you on his channel to do a show, right? And of course, who was famous or dark arts, right? Mourinho. So that's what I'm saying. I've been saying it since the NLD. I'm seeing Arteta slowly morphing into a pragmatic manager. He's turning more like into a Mourinho-esque or a Conte-esque kind of a manager, right? And then, if I'm not mistaken, I was on DR Sports yesterday with Abby Summers and all that. Abby was saying it too. I've been saying it for so long. I mean, the past few games that's happened, right? So I guess that, and then she got pelters like hell on that comparison. But of course, Arsenal went down to 10 men. They had to hold on to the points, and in the end, instead of getting 3, they got 1. I guess, in the sense of mathematics, they'll still be happy with it, right? And of course, Chang's answering to Jordan, right? Right. And Chang, I think I've got Jordan's number, right? I'll pass it to you later. Right, Jordan, don't worry, I'll give Chang your number. You guys can link up from there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much.
Yep. And then of course, Mr. K says, seriously, right, Arsenal played beautifully 2 years ago. Yep. Arsenal played beautifully 2 years ago. Right. And of course now, after that, we'll go into the next game is that the Liverpool West Ham game that's in the Carabao Cup. Right. Earlier, Mani had it. Earlier, Keshaf had said into it. I'll be straightforward to this game. Even though if I see the way things are going, for West Ham to actually get the result there, because the Carabao Cup is a weird thing. Hold on to the draw, right, and then go into penalties and try to get your luck from try to get something out of penalties, right, Keshaf? That's how I see it.
Yep.
Right at this moment in time. Unless you're telling me, how would you say? Unless you're telling me Slot is going to play the slew of use, right? Then, then it will be a different thing. Then maybe you will have a chance. Actually, if you play a stronger team, right, your first team, then you might have a chance to win. But like you were saying, you guys need to bounce back, right? But honestly, I think Liverpool will win the game. That's all. And your thoughts, Chang, on that game, Liverpool West Ham?
Honestly, though, for this, I mean, this is very similar to the Spurs and Coventry City game. If Liverpool do feel a mixture of youth and senior squad players, and Liverpool to make the same mistakes at home at Anfield the same way they did against Nottingham Forest, in which Liverpool lost at home to Nottingham Forest by 1-0, I actually honestly believe that if West Ham give themselves a big kick up their backsides from that 3-0 loss to Chelsea, they could actually spring a surprise here. And I'm not trying to say this just to suck up to Kesha or to appeal to him or to get him to interact or anything. I honestly feel if Liverpool aren't careful here and if West Ham play their cards right, we could be in for an upset. Although maybe upset might not be the term to use, because that would be saying that Liverpool are better or the favorites to win, but West Ham can actually get a win away at Anfield if everything goes in favor to them. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I understand. So Manny, do you think Liverpool is going to smack West Ham in the Carabao Cup? Mr. K say West Ham is going to win 2-1. If they can seriously injure a Liverpool player in the first half. Yeah, Mr. K, you naughty boy.
Region, the form book says that simply cannot happen. But football is, of course, a funny old game and all that jazz. We've seen it before. And I'd like to think that Slot deserves a great deal of credit for making sure that the team's focus was a lot more sharp and following that reverse against Nottingham Forest. And the thing about West Ham is that again, and Keshev is more than welcome to come in on the disagree vehemently if he likes. I just don't know what sort of an 11 Lopetegui can put out that can possibly make any kind of a difference to their fortunes at the moment. And more's the because West Ham, if anything, do fancy themselves as a cup team of sorts, and they definitely enjoy playing, in the League Cup, as we've found out to our own detriment at times. And I just wonder if Slot even look to try and take things a little bit easy. I don't think he's going to want to do that. I think he's going to be completely focused on making sure that Liverpool really are up for this, and we're not too far removed from, the likes of Jurgen Klopp making it crystal clear that he wanted Liverpool to go for quadruples. One season, it very nearly happened when they won the FA Cup and the League Cup. The last team to do that was, I think, a certain Arsenal in 92-93, or I may be mistaken. But they just couldn't quite get it together in the Premiership and the Champions League. But this Liverpool team, obviously, much has been made about their lack of activity in the transfer window. But Slot seems to have taken Klopp's team and taken them. I wouldn't necessarily say chart the new course, but there is a bit of a difference now in the way that they play. And Mo Salah, being in his last year, says he wants to enjoy himself, but he seems to be back to something like his best. I don't quite know. And we'll see, obviously, how things pan out. But I don't see West Ham getting very much out of it. I think Slot will demand full intensity, and certainly some of the fringe players will want to use this as a chance to impress. So I can't see beyond the Liverpool win. I'm sorry to say that.
Yeah, that's true. Right, and Keshav, I think you already said your part on this right earlier. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else to add on to it?
I just want to see a proper performance. Really, I even if Liverpool win, I just want to see us have a go at them. I don't want to see that demolishing performance from last season. That was horrible. So I just don't want that same repetitive. The way last season panned out in that EFL, the Carabao Cup, the way they tore us apart, I didn't like. I don't want that same thing to happen again. So I just hope we.
At least put up a fight.
I just put up a fight. I don't. I want it to be a narrow defeat. I don't want it to be. I want us to have a go. I want us to press them. I want us to at least try and attack them. And I just now heard news. I think Todibo is going to start, so I think that's good.
Oh, at last.
Yeah, which is good. So,
He's rated.
And I just hope these next few games. I'm just hoping to see a little bit. Just a balanced team. So just stop conceding goals, because every game you're conceding goals. And Lopetegui to get his message across, because I don't think that message is getting across. I want us to score goals. I want us to not leave Kudus out because you see, I don't really realizing Kudus is playing on the left wing, and I don't like that. And he's not been actually playing properly on the left wing because you're accommodating Paqueta in the middle. So. And Paqueta is not playing properly in the middle, so the problem is we can't seem to be able to
gel together or something like that.
Because we got so many players. That's the problem. But anyways, hopefully you'll figure it out. But hopefully tomorrow we can get something. So, and yeah, I hope Liverpool lose though.
Of course you do. And if not mistaken, your twin brother,
Yeah,
is
my brother's a Liverpool fan.
that's going to be a good one. Keshav is actually a twin. Yes,
Mm.
and he's a West Ham fan, and his
Mm.
brother is a Liverpool fan. So tomorrow night they won't be sleeping. Most probably they'll be fighting each other in front of the TV or something like that. But Chang,
They're not
yeah,
they're not showing the game lah. They're not showing the
they're
game.
not showing the game. Yeah, go find some dodgy stream and you can watch it there.
Mm.
Chang, I think you've got to go, right?
Yeah,
please,
sadly. Honestly, as much as I like to carry on, because honestly, it's also been a very, very long time since I last been on a Spurs Vision TV. I think the last time was maybe towards the latter end of last season when we did those live watch-alongs when we was just defeat after defeat after defeat after defeat before we finally threw the game. We threw the game at home against Man City that denied Arsenal the championship or something like that. That was, to be back again. I'm so glad to be back, and I really am looking forward to many, many more shows here on Spursian TV. If you still have me, Mr. Eugene, and I know it's still very early on in the season, but I'm really looking forward to the season and to both Mr. Keshav and West Ham, and also to Mr. Mani and also Arsenal. Have a fantastic season ahead. I really do hope to see you either here on any other platform or any other stream that we may be on together. Have a fantastic week ahead, and I look forward to seeing each and every single one of you soon. Okay, so with that,
good guys, right? Please drive carefully back tomorrow.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so with that, a very good Wednesday night, and I'll see all of you soon. Okay, bye from Service Asia.
Take a try.
Bye, Chang. Cheers.
Okay, Mani. You want to talk about Spurs and Karabakh, you two guys?
I think I already did.
Me and Chang had a back and forth because of the lineups and all that. We were trying to figure out what's going to happen and who's going to do and whatever, right? And if I'm not mistaken, this is that your brother?
Yes.
That's Keshav's twin brother, right? So hopefully West Ham can start picking up form this weekend, as potential is that, but not tomorrow, right?
Not tomorrow.
Right. And of course, Mr. B, Steve, right? Yep, I'll get you on. Don't worry, right? Next week or so, because I'll be doing a lot more shows from now on, right? I'll get more people on, right, to do more shows, right? We'll catch up soon, right? And of course, any thoughts on the Tottenham Karabakh game? Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't know whether we played Karabakh in the Europa League last season. I don't think we played them, but I think from what I saw, the two, I think was it 2 seasons ago? I think they played quite well. I don't think we ever
yeah, because they're playing you guys next, right?
Yep.
Maybe next week you come on and I'll bring Mr. B on, so there'll be a Brentford guy.
Yeah, sure. Can. No, we're playing Brentford next week, for the review.
We'll do a review for that, right?
So I don't think we face Karabakh, so I don't know how their team is, but
don't worry. I think we have faced Karabakh before once, a long time back. I don't know, under Jose or Conte or something, right? When it was in Conference League, but yeah, I think for us, right, playing teams with weird names and all that, usually we lose to them, right? We've lost to was it Dinamo Zagreb when their manager was actually in prison, right? He was managing the team in prison while we lost to them. So, but my only thing is that it comes down to the choice of the squad, the first team coming out. That's it. If we put out, I've been saying, we put out a strong team, get 2, 3, or 4 goals in, take some of the senior players out, put in the youngsters and let them have a good time, right? But if we put out a team that we did against Coventry, I don't think Ange will do that because we're at home. Number one, if he does that, I don't know, maybe the fans will turn on him if the results don't come, right? What do you think about it, Mani?
Yeah, as I said, Eugene, there's no way that Ange can afford to not take it seriously, because a European club tie is definitely different gravy to the League Cup, and this is, as you yourself said, it's an opportunity to try to get back into the Champions League. And as an Arsenal fan, we've played Karabakh more than our fair share of times in the Europa League, and I'm just glad that we don't have to go through that drudgery again, at least not for now, touch wood. But they're also going to be a typical, Eastern European sort of team, fairly, rigid in defence, probably may not offer too much as an attacking threat. And, the key to playing teams like them is to just show quite a bit of patience. And if you can do that, then you've pretty much won the battle. And once you find your openings, obviously with Johnson now starting to show a bit of form, this is something you should actually look to try and win. Karabakh won't be easy, but you're going to look back on this particular match as a match which you should win, and you must take advantage of your opportunities. So it should be a reasonably strong team with some youngsters coming in, and Forster used to be a pretty decent goalkeeper. Now I think all those years on the bench at Tottenham have sort of dulled him a little bit, maybe. But maybe a big European game is what some players need to really, get their juices flowing. League Cup games don't exactly have the same luster, you see. So you should be able to win, and I'm confident to predict a 3-1 scoreline. I say 3-1 because I still don't know if you'll be able to keep a clean sheet. But as long as you score more than you can concede, Bob's your uncle.
That's true. Right. And of course, there's one more game for us to review. It's going to be this game. Arsenal's playing Bolton, right, in the Carabao Cup. To tell the truth, Arsenal should win this easily, right? But Bolton, are they in the Championship or are they in League One?
I think League One, I think.
They've dropped down to League One now, right? Yeah. But Bolton could be a tough nut to crack, right? If they really sit back and park the bus and do all the things that you did against M City in the second half, that could turn out to be something else, right? That's my opinion on it. But of course, I think Arsenal will have enough quality in their squad to actually beat Bolton, right? I'll say this could be an easy 2-3-0 game for Arsenal. What's your thoughts on it, Keshav, before I get to Mani?
Yeah, I think it should be easy win. I don't see Arsenal getting. Arsenal should win this. I think even if they're young players, they should just use their young players. I heard they're starting a 16-year-old goalkeeper, if I'm not mistaken. I saw. I don't know who's that 16-year-old goalkeeper, but I think they're starting him. Look, I think don't get me wrong. I think it's a great opportunity for Bolton to face Arsenal. They can. It's great for these type of sides to face big sides. This is what the Carabao Cup is for, right? So, yeah. But I think Arsenal win this comfortably, I feel. Probably 3-0.
Okay. And Mani, do you think Arteta will put out a weakened team? Or is he going to go strong with this?
Well, I mean, the team's already going to be partially weakened, Eugene, because Raya has been... it's been found that Raya has a little bit of... a sort of a leg injury / issue, so I don't think he'll be able to. And what we were thinking, signing the Bournemouth captain Neto, who is now cup-tied for the League Cup, I will never know. Hopefully Neto should be able to play in the FA Cup at least if Raya needs a rest. But, we haven't really done ourselves too many favours. And Bolton, in fact, are a team that has given us a lot of hurtful moments in cup games gone by and other games gone by. Many of us will remember, in fact, how they knocked us out of the FA Cup at home when we were playing at Highbury in 1995. That was the season when somehow we were able to reach the European Cup Winners' Cup final for the second consecutive year, but ended up losing it because your former player, Naeem, lobbed our hero, David Seaman, halfway line. Yeah. And so for Arsenal against Bolton clashes, you just need to look back about 20 odd years ago We drew 2-2 against them at the Reebok Stadium and saw our league challenge start to crumble and end up being ended. And so this is not a match that we can afford to take lightly. And Mr. B can tell you that his Brentford team took on League One opposition in the form of Leyton Orient and struggled for a bit, but eventually found their way through. And we cannot afford to take Bolton lightly either. Our record in the domestic cups under Arteta since that FA Cup win has been absolutely abysmal. We have only probably made one semi-final in the League Cup, but that's just it. And it's as if he doesn't even bother to take the cup seriously anymore. And even the fans say, no problem, we've got bigger fish to fry in terms of trying to go for the league. And that's not the way it should be. But, we can't afford to not take this seriously. Although I do think some players will be rested. It could very well be that certain players on the fringes will get their chances to impress as usual. But we've already seen Premiership teams like Leicester and others struggle against lower league opposition and very nearly go and pretty much go the distance. So we can't afford to let ourselves be one of them. This is a game I see us winning 3-1. I see us winning this 3-1. But given that it's a straight knockout, it goes to penalties. I wouldn't be surprised if Bolton somehow end up, as you say, parking the bus and try and frustrate us. And then once it goes to penalties, it'll be the 16-year-old Porter up against a team of more seasoned strikers. Well, good luck to him for that, I say. But I'm confident enough to predict a 3-1 win. But with Arsenal, it's never going to be comfortable. And of course, because I'm not having the because I don't have coverage of the League Cup in my neck of the woods, I'll probably be watching the Manchester United Twente and Shedder game in the Europa League tonight.
Yeah, that's a good one. Right. Guys, the show will be wrapping up soon. Just an information update for you guys, right? Ricky Via TV has joined the Spurs Vision family. Please subscribe to their channel, right? And most probably they'll be streaming out every Sunday regularly from Spurs Vision, but under the Ricky Via banner, right? Jens and those guys over there are good guys, right? They used to be part of the Shelf Side Spurs guys. I'm trying to ban back the OGs of the Shelf Side Spurs, and maybe we'll do a reunion show for the Shelf Side Spurs on Spurs Vision. Hopefully I can do that. But guys, thanks for being on. Of course, thank you, Mr. K, right? Steve, right? And who else have we got here? Steve and Mr. K, right? We've got Brand McGuire, big up, and of course Lakshan. That is Keshav's twin brother, right? That's going to be very interesting for them because one is a Liverpool fan and one is a West Ham fan, and of course Jordan, big up to you, and Chang, yes, Chang, my co-host, right? He was here on earlier. Hopefully he gets a good rest while he drives back to KL tomorrow from Malacca. Chris Agamba, the number one Agamba, right, in the whole of the United Kingdom, right? And of course Miss Donna Cullen, she was here earlier. Ricky was here too. Daniel Coyce was here. Eva Man from Hong Kong was here, right? Who else do we have? Of course, Ryan from Huddersfield Town and TV. Guys, thanks for being here. Please don't forget, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Ricky Via's channel, and whoever else's channels out there, those guys who have been on earlier, right? And smash the likes and please share and get more people on. I'm trying to monetize the channel. Please help me out. And of course, I'd like to do this one more time. I'm going to do this as my outro and my intro. But of course, guys, the music is a bit loud. Right. Take care. Catch up again. See you again next time. And as always, BVL.
That's a pretty good intro your daughter did for you,